Hello, everyone. Oh, hello, Rakesh. Good morning. Well, good evening. Okay, I think we can start. Everything good with the sound? Okay. Okay. So, yesterday we ended with the concept that there is no end and beginning in existence, and nothing gets destroyed, nothing disappear, only can change. And so if we learn to live without distracting the earth, then it can remain forever, and so can human being. So let's go from there. Whatever untoward events took place in human history until now, all those events occurred only due to wrong understanding. Human beings have inflicting wounds on earth, have torn its guts apart, and have deformed its surface. Now, due to all these, we are seeing rise in the Earth's temperature. They have destroyed rivers and streams, polluted air and water, and caused immense suffering. If the Earth suffer, then all of the flora, fauna, and human beings that reside upon it are bound to suffer. It's anybody's guess what kind of people would have envisaged health and happiness on a wounded planet. If we stop disturbing Earth's natural balance, then its surface alone has abundant resources for all human beings on this planet to live happily forever. It is out of ignorance that humans committed these mistakes and crimes. These mistakes and crimes are not outcomes of right understanding, and the result is widespread imbalance. All of this destruction took place in the scientific age, and yet we haven't stopped boasting about science. We think science will find some solution to the prevent environmental crisis, even when it is due to science that humankind has reached the brink of wiping itself out from the earth. We need to pay attention to this. Human beings must become wise if they want to avoid this fate. Wrong understanding cannot stop crime. Crime is crime, even if it is legalized by a constitution. Every nation has a constitution, and currently every such constitution embodies the maxim of power-centric rule in the form of trying to stop one mistake by making another mistake, trying to stop one crime by committing another crime, trying to stop one war by waging another war. Nowhere could these three programs successfully eliminate crime. Mistakes, crimes, and wars have only increased with time historically. Human history today is really just a chronicle of how wars became fiercer, how crimes became more prevalent, and how one mistake led to another. If we go about searching its root cause, we discover that these circumstances were created only by human beings. Another attempt at stopping crimes which has been tried is through religion in the form of religious laws, as code of ethics and morals in religious tradition. All religious laws assume that the human being is fundamentally sinner, selfish, and ignorant. But the reality is different than that. Each religion still prescribes its own ways, ideals, duties, responsibilities, and practices for salvation of sinners, for turning the ignorant wise, and for turning the selfish benevolent. What is the net result of these efforts? So far, there is not a single evidence of an ignorant person becoming wise, a selfish person becoming benevolent, or of a sinner becoming absolved as a result of these efforts. So here is saying that whatever happens today, it's not because of right understanding, it's due to wrong understanding, because we haven't understood properly. Then that's why all this imbalance happens, all this crime happens. It's not possible that we understand properly and then these bad things happen. We have to rethink, okay, probably there's something missing in our understanding, and some things that are missing. Yeah, what do we need to understand? Existence. So now we see existence as a beginning and an end. We see ourselves to be more a body. So then we are not able to develop a definite conduct. So of course, these things happen to the earth. And the health of the earth is my health, is the human health. We cannot expect to be healthy and happy if the earth is suffering. And all the orders, the more developed orders, depends on the previous one. So plant cannot emerge if there's no matter, and animals cannot emerge without plants, and humans cannot emerge without the rest. So we really depend on all the orders' well-being, including also other humans being well-being, to thrive and be happy. We cannot just think that, okay, we'll be okay even if the earth is really imbalanced, then we'll be okay. No, we fully depend on the earth's health. And also, the earth actually has all the resource necessary for all human beings to be happy. Of course, we have to first learn to take care of the earth, and we also need to understand our needs. So there are two kinds of needs. There's the material needs and the conscious needs. And if we understand our conscious needs, our values, our emotions, and if we fulfill them, then we also understand our material needs, which are actually limited, and there is enough on the earth for every human being to fulfill their needs, their physical needs and their conscious needs. And yeah, all of this is result of wrong understanding, and part of our understanding is science. So we cannot think that science will find the solution, because science has the mindset which creates all these things. So we need to change our worldview, and that cannot happen with science, because science is the root of all these events. And he's talking about, okay, we are committing all these crimes, and crimes is not in a law sense. Today we have crimes defined by the law, but actually some crimes, as he defines it, are even legal today. So a crime in this context is everything that is against humanness, everything against the system, everything against nature's law. And so there are three kinds of crimes. There is other husband's wife, other's wealth, and cruel work and behavior. So those crimes today, they can be legalized actually by the constitution, but doesn't make them not crime. And if we still commit crime, then we cannot live in harmony with the environment and with other human beings. And so there are ways today to stop crimes, but so the constitutions today are just a set of rules. It's like organizing the power basically, and how to stop another crime by committing another crime. So if you make a crime, then I will take your freedom away. Or if you start a war, then I will also start a war. It's legal in the constitution to start another war. So the constitutions today are really not actually constitution. Constitution should be okay, how am I supposed to live? Not okay, what are the mistakes we are committing and how can we try to correct that? No, we want to just have the healthy way of living. And another way to try to stop this crime is the religion. But religion also have the wrong vision from the beginning. It's assuming that human beings cannot understand. Human beings are selfish, they are sinners. But actually, it's the opposite. Human has the potential to do good, to be wise, to understand. So again, the science has the wrong viewpoint from the beginning, and the religion has the wrong viewpoint. So we cannot count on these viewpoints to find solutions. We need another viewpoint, a new vision, which understands everything as it is, and the inherent harmony and the actual potential of human beings. I had earlier told you about sadhana that I had undergone. Sadhana is there until samadhi is achieved. During sadhana, the aspirant has no resolution in their thoughts, and the mind remains perplexed. One endeavors for samadhi only get rid of perplexity of mind in the first place. The measure of one aspirant's greatness during sadhana is only in the extent of their efforts to achieve samadhi. An aspirant could get all kinds of stray thoughts during sadhana, and then all thoughts come to a standstill in samadhi. After samadhi, one is left with no desire to do anything, to achieve anything, or to hold on to anything. I have seen that state myself. You can ask, how did I get the desire to prepare and present all of this after having accomplished samadhi? Well, my quest was neither for attaining some salvation nor for entering into some sort of heaven. I only wanted to find answers to my questions. So when I did not find answers in the state of samadhi, I naturally started scrutinizing myself with regard to whether I had actually achieved samadhi or not. During this scrutiny, all these facts about existence came into my understanding. The credit for this goes to all humankind, for it is due to their good deeds, their future, their well-being, and their good that these findings have emerged. It is not a reproduction of what was already there in the various scriptures. That is a fact. My elders only guided to the extent of assuring me that I would find answers in samadhi. It is only when I performed sanyam in order to produce evidence of my having attained samadhi that this finding emerged. So he's talking again about his. So sadhana is the process in the pursuit of samadhi. So he's repeating again that until you reach samadhi, there is no result in the thoughts. There is always these stray thoughts and foolish thoughts that can come. The only the only quality of an aspirant is that is very determined to attain samadhi. It's not like on the way is already getting resolved or getting rid of the thoughts. No, it's only samadhi that there is no thought anymore. And why, if you are left with no thoughts, no desire, then how was he able to look for more? Because actually that was not his end goal. If many people want to attain samadhi, then that's the end goal. They got it, but for him it was not. That was not the point. For him, he wanted answer to his question. So because again he has this really strong quest, he didn't stop there, and then he found this answer after performing sanyam. And so here is saying that the credit goes for all humankind. So it means it's not only him, it's like all the efforts put before by humankind also helped him. Anytime there is a discovery, you cannot discover something if some other things before have not been discovered. And also all the humankind have put effort to understand, to do good. We always want to improve. So the credit goes to all humankind, and also this happened for all humankind. Because the good has to come. People want to do good. This came to him. But it's for everyone, and it's due to everyone's good efforts all the way before. And also important, it's not a reproduction of what was already there. So it's really a discovery. He didn't find anything that was there before. I mean, it was there, but it was never understood before on this earth. So he followed the scripture just until samadhi. After that, the discovery is a new viewpoint. It's a new understanding that was not here before on this earth. Human understanding has evolved gradually throughout the course of history. It is all written there how humans used to live in the jungle age, the stone age, and the iron age. Then came the feudal age, wherein many people found relief. The promise here was that the king would assure life and prosperity of the subjects. However, that promise has remained unfulfilled to date. Life and property has remained insecure. Peace and harmony is farther still. Every family, every community remains concerned about protection of their life and property and living with peace and harmony. Idealism was also a step forward in the evolution of human understanding. It gave some relief, but after some time that also became inadequate, and rethinking of that approach also became imperative. Then science, as a new way of thinking, had a reason to emerge. It gained wide acceptance due to its quality of logical consistency. Earlier, there was no scope of logic in sermonism. The non-believers of idealism were labeled heretics and tortured in many ways. It is all there is in history. Science got its wide acceptance because of it accepted this challenge of logic. It then became popular by making those amenities available which were there in the idea of heaven. But even after enjoying these amenities, human beings did not become fully satisfied, and people kept swinging between idealism and materialism, alternating between the pursuit of devotion, detachment, and the pursuit of luxury possession. One turns to devotion detachment after becoming tired of chasing luxury possession, and when one gets cold feet from the pursuit of devotion detachment, then one jumps back into the rat race of luxury possession. Both these extremes feels good in their own way, but the gap between feeling good and being good remains. Just because something feels good doesn't mean it is good. For example, drinking cold water feels good, but it is not a law that cold water is good. The same cold water which feels good to one could make another person catch a cough. Therefore, the matter of cold water feeling good or not feeling good cannot establish whether cold water is universally good or bad. So here is explaining how, all the human endeavors so far are to understand and to evolve, to develop. We don't want to stay like that's very characteristic of human being, that we don't want to just stay where we are or go back. We want to get better. We want to improve. So there are many steps in that. There is the feudal age, and the idealism and then materialism, and all this way they feel good in a certain way, but there is an important point here, the difference between feeling good and being good. So feeling good would be more based on my senses. Sometimes something tastes good, something feels good, something smells good, but that doesn't mean that it is good. Is good would be more based on justice, like is it doing justice to everyone, is it taking into account the well-being of everything and everyone else. Then if something is taking this into account, then it can be acceptable to everyone and it is universally good. So it's not, because feeling good can depend on someone, like someone can like this thing and not this thing. We all have differences in our body, in our senses, so we cannot find universality there, but we can find universality in the justice, in values, in things that we all share. So that's a difference between feeling good and is good. Scientism, promotion of science as the best or only objective, means by which society should determine normative and epistemological values, is taking us towards instability and uncertainty, wherein the scientists have tried to describe the human being as a machine. They have not yet become successful. It is a mere hearsay. The scientist who tries to describe human being as a machine remains dissatisfied with their own description. Understanding the mechanistic working of the human being has become the big issue of scientific research these days. They think on this basis alone, speed can be brought about in the human being's behavior, thinking, and doing. The human being, however, doesn't fit into a mechanistic model. Science believes only a machine could have the sort of precision which the human beings can comprehend and deal with. The idealistic, on the other hand, advocated for sensitivity, feelings and emotions in human beings. But they have also proclaimed that the human being cannot properly understand and deal with sensitivity. In this way, the chasm between idealism and materialism continues, and humankind has kept getting trapped in one problem after another. Every human life ends in problems, and that's the current human condition. Now the proposal that I am putting forth is, I believe, result of humankind's collective effort towards good throughout their entire history. If I assess my individual effort, I find that it is insignificant compared to the result that I have gotten. It is as if a ton of heavy fruit has grown upon a small tree. This discovery is bigger than my individual effort. The main point to understand is regarding the entity which carries forward the results of human effort from one lifetime to next. I have seen it precisely. Jivan is capable of carrying forward the result of human effort from one lifetime to next. How? I have seen Jivan to be having inexhaustible forces and powers, and I can teach you to see this as well. If you have the same quest, then you can also understand it. I am confident that this understanding is every human being's need, and therefore you will eventually come around to it. So here saying, yeah, all these efforts we are trying to understand. So science tried to understand the body, the human, more as a machine, so more focusing on the body, but that's not satisfying because actually we're not like this. So even the scientist itself, if he's trying to describe himself as a machine, he cannot be fully satisfied with this explanation. And the idealistic, they take into account the sensitivity, but they also don't take into account that we can understand it and we can master it. They think that we are just here and something else is controlling us. We are not. We cannot understand. So both these approaches are not satisfying, and that's why we are ending life in problems. Problem means when we are not resolved, when we don't understand any event, we don't understand the cause of anything, the laws, then that's problem. And then we understand, that's resolution. So to get resolved, we need a new understanding, and that's his new discovery. And again, he's saying that's not even his effort. It's a lifetime effort. It's a lot of effort, and he sees that it's not that big compared to whatever he got. Like he really understood the existence, and it can really be useful for all humankind. So to him, it seems like it's not such a big effort compared to the result. So it's very nice to see on one hand his humility, and also that it's for all humankind, and it's a big discovery, and it's big for someone, one person to find it. So I kind of understand at the same time it's so big. I can imagine, like, oh, you had these questions and then you find even more than what you expected. So yeah, I can see how it must feel like, oh, my effort was not so big in the end. And what is next is really important. What is really important to understand, in the end, it comes down to Jivan. We need to understand what is possible to understand, the entity which is possible to understand, and also is able to carry from one lifetime to the next, because Jivan is continuous. Then if we have a tradition, then we can carry all this effort forwards to the next. And just as he had this quest, if we have this quest the same, then through education we can also get this understanding, and he believes that it's everyone's quest, so we can understand also. It is clear that whatever a Jivan decides to do with body, the result of it always turns out to be more than the requirements of the body. This is a natural process. I have understood Jivan. I have seen the human being to be a combined form of Jivan and body. Up until now, human beings have been incapable of explaining the term consciousness and existence by way of education. Whenever science tried to explain the fundamental nature of existence, it only demonstrated the instability and uncertainty of matter. Science has been providing ideas about the presence of inherent conflict in nature, and thereby it has built an obsession for profit, sex, and consumption. We humans have kept accepting these ideas, and when we experience their outcomes, we found that these ideas do not provide the basis of our fulfillment. In this way, by following science, we have lived with an internal conflict. Now, the proposal being offered here has to be understood first. The way I verify it through living, you also have to verify it. When you become satisfied with the verification in your living, then you will naturally offer yourself for the education of others. When we become successful in imparting right understanding to others, then we get the evidence of having understood it ourselves, which is the touchstone of being wise. So, when so far we haven't been capable to understand, to explain consciousness and existence, and so the way science is focusing only on matter. So if you look only in the matter, then matter is changing all the time. So if you're not able to see that there is something bigger, there is a continuity, there is a interconnection, there is a balance, then if you look, also science is trying to break. It's not trying to see the system, like even in the atom is not trying to understand the atom in its system, but trying to break and go deeper and deeper, and like breaking everything smaller. Then you eventually see randomness, because it has a definite conduct in the system. So because science is trying to understand this way, then it sees or instability and uncertainty, and then it sees it everywhere. It sees it also in human beings, and that's how we got this obsession for profit, sex, and consumption. And we trust science, we believe in this, we follow this, and then we don't get the outcomes that we expect. We don't get fulfilled, we don't get happy. So we have this internal conflict that we trust science, we believe in it, but then whatever we do is not fulfilling. So we live in this conflict. And now he's offering this proposal to us, And it's not only to be just believed or blindly or followed blindly, we have to also understand and verify it. So how to verify it? First, does it make sense to me? Like, does it feel like, yeah, I can recognize myself in what he's saying? And then, okay, I can try to understand and I can try to live it. And if I get more satisfaction in my living, then I can get confidence that, yeah, that really makes sense. And slowly we can refine. So I understand something, I try to apply it in my living, and then it just confirmed the understanding, and then I understand even deeper. I have a clearer understanding, etc., until I can get the full understanding, the very clear vision that, okay, I've understood and I live this way. And then I want to, of course, share it with others. And that's the ultimate evidence that I've understood, is that I can also make other understand. My realization is in coexistence. I have seen coexistential harmony in nature to be the content of right understanding. Human beings can experience prosperity in coexistential orderliness by producing more than the requirements of their family. The understanding of coexistential harmony manifests as resolution in every aspect of human behavior. I have seen these three: coexistential harmony, prosperity, and resolution. And I have seen how vast we become in course of imparting this understanding, far surpassing the physical limits of body. It is clear that this proposal of right understanding is about things that are not limited to the confines of body. Every human being has the potential of achieving right understanding. An enthusiasm can be kindled for achieving right understanding in every human being with this proposal. Science is but a step in humankind's journey towards completeness. The step prior to science was the step of idealism, and before that it was the step of tribal age. Going even further back, there were steps of hunter-gatherer age and stone age. We have reached where we are today in a step-by-step manner. We must acknowledge and be grateful for the contributions of previous steps. So, it's saying here that once we understand, once we live with coexistential harmony, prosperity, and resolution, then our life becomes much bigger than just what my body needs. It becomes more rich. So it's clear that once we understand, the understanding is not limiting to body, and then the life we have based on this understanding, it's much more than just my body and what I need. There is emotions, there is the harmony, there is the other human beings, the nature. It's much bigger than just what do I eat, what do I feel like having. It's much more satisfying and more rich. And so all these steps that happen, it has to happen. When you understand something, you understand step by step. So human journey is the same way. We just came, and then we have to go step by step, and that's the way we did it, from idealism to science and now coexistentialism. We must be grateful for that, because it's part of the process. We cannot understand just right away. We need stepstone, and we have to recognize this and be grateful for everything that has been done before. I have given you here a general sequence of events that took place until my discovery. In summary, I did not become satisfied by the finest offering, Vedic knowledge, from the tradition. I took on the responsibility of finding my answers of my question, and made a focused effort to accomplish that. As a result of these efforts, I discovered that whole human beings can become happy, that righteousness can prevail, and earth can become heavenly, and humans can become as gods. This is how I became motivated to offer this discovery to humankind in the form of a proposal. So that was the summary of how he found these answers to his questions, and then the wish he had in the beginning of human beings become happy or divine, and earth become heavenly, and human be as gods. So there was a wish, and now he found a way that it's possible. And so, for instance, the earth is actually heavenly. It's only because we are not realizing it that 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 we are disturbing the balance, and then it can look like it's not heavenly, but there is really abundance in the earth. It's already heavenly. We just need to realize it. And the same way for humans be divine. It's just a matter of understanding. We have the potential. Of course, right now we are not, but we have this potential within us that we can understand. And once we understand, then we can have these divine attributes of being wise, of being good, of being kind. So now he wants to offer this proposal to all humankind. When I had thoroughly understood existence, Jivan and human contact, I achieved a state about which I will describe to you now. This understanding resulted in the capability of self-confidence in me, and for that I didn't have to make any sort of effort. Thereafter, I started verifying this confidence in all aspects of my living. The second thing was that I became capable of respecting human excellence. It is because I could assess the excellence in people that I became capable of respecting them. It's a rule that we will not be able to respect that which values we cannot assess. The third thing was that I became capable of embodying this understanding into my personality. I did not find any difficulty in living based on this talent. In other words, the way of living in tune with harmony in existence and harmony in Jivan. I call this the capability of balance in talent and personality. The fourth thing was that I became social in behavior. I started getting fulfillment in myself upon becoming social. As its benefit, I was left with no complaints with the world. Now, in every moment, I keep verifying the meaningfulness of my actions. I live meaningfully in all my relationships while fulfilling their innate duties and responsibilities. The fifth thing that came about is prosperity. Though I was born in a hardworking family and I knew how to do physical labor and perform service, I didn't then really know the meaning of prosperity. It is now that I understood the meaning of prosperity. We experience prosperity when we produce more than the requirements of our family. In this way, all these wonderful benefits came to me through this understanding, collectively to which I have called the state of self-reliance. I became self-reliant, and you can also become self-reliant with this understanding. So here is explaining what naturally happened once he got this understanding. So what was the outcome of this understanding? And actually it can be the outcome of anyone's understanding of education. So we can say they are the outcome of education. And he said, this happened naturally once he got the understanding, that the effort was to understand, not to get this outcome. So what are the outcomes? There is self-confidence or trust within oneself. It means I have assurance in all aspects of my life, and I understand my participation, so I know in every situation, in every stage, I know how to live. And I know also I understand my needs, and I know that I can fulfill them without harming anyone, without harming the nature. So really in every aspect of life, then I'm just confident that I can live a good way. Then there is respecting human excellence. And here the key for that is that to have a reference to judge, to evaluate human excellence. Because if there is no reference, you cannot evaluate anything. It's true for many things. You need a reference. If you want to take your temperature and see if you're sick, you need to know, okay, what is a normal temperature? And then you can assess, okay, am I off? Am I healthy? So for respecting human excellence, we need a scale to evaluate, and this scale is the human conduct. And once you understand this human conduct, then you can evaluate yourself, you can evaluate others based on that, and not just comparing or based on skills, based on look, based on physical strength. you can really evaluate properly. And this way you can respect, because you can see the good in every human being. You can see everyone as some good, and you can see that and respect that, and also respect yourself. The third one is balance in talent and personality. So talent is the understanding, so understanding of existence, of jivan, and of human conduct. And then personality is the way I live, my lifestyle, my behavior, my food. So these, they have to be in balance. And he said, again, no difficulty once he had this understanding to find balance between them. My understanding and my lifestyle is fully coherent. And the fourth one is social in behavior. So social means I'm able to interact with all kinds of people, and I'm interacting with anyone the same way that I would with my family. The world becomes one family. There is no division anymore. So it doesn't mean that I will live with everyone or that I will relate with everyone, but whenever I come into contact with someone, for me it's one family. The word family is the same. And so this way I don't have any complaint with anyone. I'm resolved. I have no friction with anyone. So I cannot think of a human being or a human being in general and have a problem. I'm resolved. I'm friction free with any human being. And then the last one is prosperity. So he said, yeah, I was living in a hardworking family. Doesn't mean I knew the meaning of prosperity. Because one aspect of prosperity is, I need to engage in production and I need to produce more. And that happens only in family once I understand my need. I cannot experience prosperity by myself. I need to be in family to understand my need and to be able to produce more than what we need. And then there's a sense of lack. So prosperity is not only having the thing, it's also experience the feeling of I'm not lacking anything. Nowadays, you can be rich, you can have so much and still feel like you need more, or you can be rich, you can be poor, and then you don't have enough, but so you feel like you need more. Both ways, people are suffering. They don't feel satisfied. So prosperity is also dissatisfaction. So now he can experience prosperity, and altogether he called this self-reliance. And so he got this through this understanding, and so can we through education, through study. Once we get this understanding, we will also naturally experience this self-reliance. Once I became self-reliant, then in order to offer this understanding to the world, I started articulating it in literature form so that it could be taught and spoken. I titled this literature at Matthias Darshan's Advaitavad, Coexistentialism, which I have presented as 4 chapters. The first chapter is the holistic view on human behavior. Second chapter, the holistic view of human actions. Third chapter, the holistic view of human living. Fourth chapter, the holistic view of realization in human being. In this manner, I penned down the entire Matthias Darshan as 4 chapters. The essence, the common thread of my entire presentation is the explanation of Matthias, of the mediative. Hence, it is named Matthias Darshan, the mediative view. There are creative, destructive, and mediative powers in existence, and each has their own respective outcomes. Among these powers, establishing magnificence of the mediative force and power is the unique objective of humankind. I too was very amazed when I discovered the presence of this mediative force. Anyone who has gotten a sense of its presence, whether scholar, scientist, or commoner, has been amazed. The scientists have recognized the creative and destructive forces in nature, but so far they have not been able to understand the mediative force and power as purposiveness in nature. I think it is a huge blind spot and error in the preceding scientific effort. There is a need now to rethink. Matthias Darshan explained these 4 things: mediative force, mediative power, mediative authority, and mediative jivan. So now he's explaining that, okay, now he wants to offer this to the world, so he started to write down. And so he had it in different forms. So the first is the darshan. So it's the holistic view, the viewpoint behind all of this. And so there are 4 chapters, but the common thing between all of them, and that give the name Matthias Darshan, is to understand the mediative force. So he said there are creative, destructive, and mediative forces, or we can say formation, deformation, and continuation. Another way is positive, negative, balancing. So today we understood the positive, negative. So we see that everywhere. So in the nature, yeah, there are positive things and negative, like something grows, something dies. But there is another force which hasn't been understood yet, which is the mediative force, the balancing force, which creates continuity, balance. It's not only random what is positive and negative. There is another force that creates this balance between these forces. And so we can see it in the nature. We can also see it in a smaller scale in the atom. Right now you can see, yeah, attraction, repulsion, and science can see that there is randomness in this. But actually there is also a mediative force which makes that the particles will not go too far from the nucleus, and they will also not too close and crash. There is this force which is not active all the time, but sometimes it needs to mediate. And so we need to understand this and understand also that human being has a real role in play in this. Actually, humankind would be the mediative force in the existence, because matter, order, plant, animals, they have, to a certain extent, they have also this balancing. It's like they have a balance in themselves, but only to a certain extent. We can see if the human beings are not playing their role, then the rest of the nature can only sustain the balance up to a certain point. We can see today, okay, the climate is changing, everything is trying to balance itself, but if we continue like this, at some point it will just not be able to be balanced anymore, and the earth can get destroyed. So the human being is really the mediative force, and we have to understand this, and that's the main point of the darshan, the holistic view. Next, as I went about establishing the ideological position, coexistentialism, it came under 3 headings. The first of these is resolution-centered materialism. Its central theme is that all physical and chemical entities of nature exhibit harmony, orderly conduct, in accordance with their essence. Also, these entities participate in the universal orderliness of existence. Material in sentient nature, while being harmony in itself, is also complementary to the sentient nature, jivan. The prior theories expounded tension or struggle between opposing forces, while in reality, nature has no conflict, no revolt, no snatching or robbing. Instead, there's mutual complementariness, celebration of cohabitation, and continuous emergence. I have tried to explain it here, but one can only convey information through the written word, while the understanding can only be imparted person to person. Most importantly, the reasoning in coexistentialism has science aligned with wisdom, and wisdom aligned with science. Wisdom is acceptance of purposiveness in existence. Therefore, in this presentation, we analyze something only after we have recognized and understood its purpose. We all know what happens if we keep analyzing something without understanding its purpose. That's the way that science has worked thus far. It kept analyzing without recognizing and understanding inherent purpose of the various realities in nature. And it is all too well known the deadlock in which it has brought all humankind. In summary, resolution-centered materialism proclaims that a physiochemical nature in existence is in harmony. That all existent units of nature are mutually complementary and interrelated for further emergence. This is a source of inspiration for human beings as well to live in harmony. The second ideological position of coexistentialism is behavior-centered public discourse. Human being is an entity in existence which becomes fulfilled only upon achieving harmony in their behavior with other human beings. Human beings' behavior gets characterized or gets defined only in the form of human conduct, and that's what I have tried to explain here. The third heading is realization-centered spiritualism. Thus far, spirituality has remained a mystery to the world. Now, on the basis of coexistence, it can be understood easily. The emptiness that is there in between any two entities, which is also visually apparent, we can call it space or void. That same emptiness that is there between you and I is also there between this Earth and other planets, between one solar system and another, or between one galaxy and other galaxy. Space is uniformly present at all places. Therefore, we know that this reality is pervasive. All entities, units, are submerged, surrounded, and imbued in this space. It is space only that first comes into human cognizance. Only after recognizing space can human beings become aware of their own presence. If space were not there between you and I would not have it been possible for me to know your presence. Therefore, the presence of every reality gets known only in the space. I have tried to explain it here. How can a human being understand oneself without understanding the existential situation of which they are a part? Human beings' realization that all units are present only in the context of coexistence with space results in their also seeing the way in which they could realize the harmony of coexistential orderliness. If a human being overlooks this, then their action will surely result in nothing apart from problems and suffering. All of the conflict, revolt, exploitation, and war in human history up until the present day, all of these contradict the coexistentialism. It is surprising how the human being expected anything good to result from such acts. Human expectation for good has remained unfulfilled, and we have kept reaping the fruit of whatever seeds we had sown. Sometimes feeling good about it, and sometimes feeling bad also. For example, if someone from our side killed someone from our enemy's side, then we feel good. This sentiment is there at the level of the nation as well. Now what should be done? Where can we take refuge? None of the nation states, religion, and education systems are explaining to human beings their purpose, nor are they giving any direction for realizing any such purpose. Now, where is one to go? What is one to do? These are the difficulties. I too had these difficulties until I awakened to the natural order in existence. After awakening in this way, I determined that I should take this discovery to the whole humankind. So after the darshan, he wrote the ideology, more the thoughts behind. So it's in three parts. So the first part is resolution-centered materialism, which is in summary how to understand materialism, but through the lens of resolution, meaning today we see matter as like in competition or or chaotic random, where actually the materialism is also in harmony, and everything in the universe is complementary to each other. So you see the material nature is complementary to the sentient nature. There is no struggle. There is no fight, no randomness. So that's understanding this way materialism. And one important point also is science aligned with wisdom and wisdom aligned with science, meaning we need to understand the purpose of everything. And once I understand the purpose of everything, then I can apply science properly. So I need to understand the purpose of anything in the nature. If there is a resources that, like a coal, has a purpose in its place, then I don't take it out. And also I need to understand my own purpose, and then I can use the natural resources which can help us for this purpose. So we need to align wisdom with science, always keeping the purpose in mind. That's what we are not doing right now. Right now we're just trying something else, and there is no direction, and then that we know where it goes, where it reach where we are now. So that's resolution-centered materialism. Then there is behavior-centered public discourse, which is more the behavior, what would be the conversation, what would be human conduct. And last, realization-centered spiritualism. So here it's understanding spiritualism, nothing mystical, but simply my relationship with myself and my relationship with the existence. So I need to understand what is my relationship with the existence, and ultimately existence is coexistence of space and nature. And this is everywhere, and this we can understand, and that's the spirituality. I need to understand my place in this existence, basically, and I cannot understand my place if I don't understand the existence itself. And all of the conflicts, all of the struggle today is because we don't have this right ideology. Everything we do is in contradiction with coexistentialism. So of course the results are also not what we expect. And there is also in this paragraph an important line, I think, about information and understanding. It's saying that okay, is written this literature, but only to convey information. The understanding can only happen from person to person, and that's because information is just words that you hear, and understanding is not separate from your living. If you understand something, then you live this way, or the other way around. Whatever you live, it's whatever you have understood. So to really understand this, we need someone's guidance, someone who has understood. And then we have an example, and we can get some guidance, and that happened through study, and the definition of study is the indiation of Atma in realization. So with someone else's realization, with someone else's guidance, only we can understand. And the words can be only information. If I read something nowadays, we feel like we can learn anything without anyone. We just go on Google and we find information, but information is not knowledge. It's fully different, and we cannot separate education from other human beings. And even information, it's really hard to get it as it is just by yourself, because every word, we all have our conditioning, we all come from a culture. So every word we hear, we already associate it with a meaning. So let's say that's why yesterday I had to explain Brahman, because I was born in France, so it's more a Catholic country, and so if I hear God, I have an association with this. And if you hear Brahman, you have a different association with it. And now if we say God in the coexistentialism Vyapak, it's fully different also. We can take another example, for instance, trust. Trust in idealism would be more, okay, what will take care of me, how I'm sure that I will do good if I have faith in God. And trust in materialism would be in the money. Okay, if I save some money, then I will be fine. And in this, trust means, no, I have trust in humans' relationship. If we are together, then we are good. So even as every word, we already have a meaning associated with it. So we need someone else. We need someone who has understood to understand, and even to get information properly, we need others. So understanding can only happen in togetherness. I then documented the theses or disciplines that describe how this understanding shall manifest itself in the art of living throughout the various walks of life. The economic theories that are available thus far are all obsessed with profit. It is very clear that human happiness is impossible via the implementation of these ideas. The way to happiness of all human beings is only via the discipline of cyclical economics. Second thesis is with regard to behavioral sociology. A human being's satisfaction is only when there is justice in their behavior, with other human beings. Behavioral sociology is built around the definition of humane conduct. It positions human conduct as the referential code of conduct for any nation state. This can be accepted as constitution by the citizens of all nations. It will eliminate the constant fear of war. As long as there are wars, human beings cannot live without causing destruction on and to the earth. As long as there is war, effort, human beings will not be able to live without disturbing the balance of the earth, and more of human intellect will be used for causing more and more disturbance. Great deal of science and effort of great many scientists is currently devoted for maintaining the wars. Scientists are paid very highly for this type of work, and the irony is that they too believe that they are doing something useful. Meanwhile, the net result of all their efforts leads towards destruction of Earth. This is my assessment of scientific thinking. We have to liberate ourselves from the mentality of war, and for that we must become wise. There is no other way. The third thesis is human consciousness-based psychology. It postulates that Jivan is the basis of consciousness in the human being, and that the body is an instrument, medium, for Jivan to express consciousness in human tradition. My explanation is there for you to verify. If you understand it upon verifying its content yourself, then I will consider my writing it to have been worthwhile. So now is explaining, he wrote the thesis or discipline, so explaining how it will manifest in the living. So there are three aspects. The first is the cyclical economics, which can be the work aspect. So today we are basing our economy on profit, and here it will be based on cyclicality. So everything in nature is in a cycle manner. So you can see, for instance, the seed will give a tree, the tree will give a fruit, and the fruit will give a seed. So there is a cycle. There's nothing linear. Everything has a cycle. So we need to understand that, because that's what ensure the continuity and the sustainability. So we need to base our economics also in a cyclical manner and respecting the cyclicality in nature. And then there is the behavior aspect. So that's behavioral sociology, which explain the human conduct as the base for a constitution that can actually be adopted by any nation, because it's universal for how humans are supposed to live. And then there is human consciousness-based psychology. So that's the thought aspect, and that's psychology taking in account the understanding of Jivan. In this way, I documented this understanding as the holistic view, the ideological position, and disciplines. The central theme of the disciplines is orderly living of the human being. It is to answer what is the way for human being to live harmoniously. What is right and what is wrong for the human being? What are the norms of humanness? What are the processes in the universal orderliness? In this way, I have made my entire presentation as the holistic view, the ideological position, and the disciplines. The disciplines are meant for giving practical guidelines for orderly living of human beings. This describes the ways, the norms, the ethics, and the procedure of living righteously. After this, the plans emerged to implement this holistic view. The plans came under three headings. The first plan is Jivan Vidya. Humans have remained ignorant about themselves since ancient ages. The age of idealism, spiritualism, made great efforts in explaining self and supreme self, but it didn't succeed. This ignorance about self has been the biggest cause of human troubles. If self is understood, then everything else can be understood as well. Jivan Vidya plan removed this hurdle by clearly explaining the nature of the self. Its central point is the Jivan, which is there in all human beings, young or old, in the same way. The basis of equality in human beings is the Jivan itself. No two human bodies can be the same, but the Jivan is there in the same way within all human beings. Each and every Jivan's forces and power are the same, and the aim of each Jivan is also the same. Jivan wants to become awakened, and awakening is its aim. Each and every human being wants resolution and justice. All of you can verify this. There is no particular part of your body that wants to experience relational justice. In the same way, no particular part of body wants prosperity, even while every human being naturally wants justice, resolution, and prosperity. Therefore, the conclusion emerges that the justice, resolution, prosperity, and truth are the wants of Jivan, because human being is a combined form of Jivan and body. It is imperative, therefore, for humans to understand the Jivan and its activities. Also, we need to understand the justice, dharma, and truth needed for the Jivan's fulfillment. Jivan Vidya addresses these. The stalwarts of science and those who don't know any science have listened to this proposal. Some of these people have understood it, and they have started working to help others understand, and they have become successful in doing that. It was then that I became confident that what I understood is relevant, that everyone can understand it, and once one has understood it, then they can help others understand. The second plan is humanization of education. Right understanding is every human being's need. Therefore, let us incorporate everything which has to do with the right understanding into education. We made a curriculum to that end, and we experimented with it in a school. First such school was in the Bijnor district of Govindpur, and it was a very good experience. There is a long-standing belief within the education system that the environment influences the students. At Govindpur, we discovered that the students with this understanding were affecting their environment. We aspire to see this success at a large scale and are making efforts toward this as well. The third plan is family-based self-governing order. It is to bring about a resolution-centric order to replace the power-centric rule. So after the literature explaining the holistic view and the ideology and and the thesis or discipline, now came the plan. How are we going to implement this? And there are three plans. So the first plan is Jivan Vidya, which means knowledge of Jivan. We need to understand Jivan because that's our essence. Well, our aim, whatever we need. We want prosperity, we want justice, we want resolution, we want to know the truth. All this doesn't happen in body. It's not my arm or my feet feel like this is Jivan. So that's why we really need to understand Jivan, what is the aim of Jivan, what is the activities of Jivan. And once we understand this, then we can understand everything else. That's the base. So that's the first plan, Jivan Vidya. The second plan is humanization of education. So because everyone wants to understand, then we need to make it available for everyone. And we need to change the education. Like today, the education is more towards having a job and having a career. We want to humanize this education. We need to. So it means we need to integrate this understanding in the education. So that's the second plan. And the third plan is the family-based self-governing order. So it's to also replace the power-centric order by a family-based self-governing order, which means that it's based on everyone's resolution, and it's based also on the family as a basic unit, as a basic the basic unit of the system, which means decisions happen in the family, and then there's the 10-tier system from family to world, that decisions always happen in a family setup. in a small group setup, and so there is no power there. But all decisions happen collectively, and also all decisions are based on resolution. So all decisions are based on the well-being of all, the well-being of everything. So this is in the center of taking decision, and that's a way that a new system should emerge. This is the way this understanding has been articulated in the form of the holistic view, the ideological position, the discipline, and the plans. So that's how he explained everything in the literature, and also has 3 plans to implement it. So that's it for my part. So thank you for listening. I hope it's been maybe helpful for you. It's been very helpful for me. It's the first time I was really sharing like this, and I find it very helpful. So thank you, Rakesh, again, and everyone involved for the translation and also for the opportunity. And I would be very glad if there is any other translation that's been done and you need to share. You need it to be shared, and I will be very glad to be part of it again. And yeah, I think that's very motivating to study more. Like I already had to study more here, and now I can see after sharing, okay, so many things I can still learn. So really thank you for the opportunity. And so tomorrow Spencer will take the turn and start presenting the next part. So thank you everyone for listening, and good night.